Paul Michael. We are going to get started here in just a moment or two. Had a little issue trying to get on this evening. I am actually at a conference center in Miami doing some work on getting us up and going down here in Miami, and I have some exciting news tonight. So if everyone will give me just a minute or so, I will get everything hooked up and we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Everyone, once again, just give me a everyone, just give me a moment or two. I'm trying to get my headphones hooked up. We may have to do that without them tonight, but hopefully I will get these hooked up and we will be able to roll in. All right, for some reason my headphones are not wanting to hook in tonight, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Give me just a moment here. I'm gonna turn on the chat because I know some people live for the chat. All right, give me one more minute and we're gonna get started. All right, here, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started this evening. I appreciate you joining us. Let me get this set up correctly. Yeah. All right, guys, good evening, everyone. If for some reason you can't hear me very well, please let me know. I'm trying to be a little bit quieter than normal because I am actually in a hotel down in Miami getting everything rolling. So I am very excited to be with you tonight. We've got a lot of good things happening since last week. Actually, on I think Monday night or Tuesday night, whatever it was of this week, Monday evening, I was actually able to do the first ride for REVO, had it picked us up at the airport with Dormal. Alan had delivered, everything went right. And so we are now in the final stages of being able to open up here in Miami. And once we open Miami, we're going to be able to open a lot of other places very quickly. So without further ado, to what I want to do tonight is just kind of really quickly, if you're brand new to finding out about what we do, or if you're, you've been around with us a while and you're learning more about how this works and how you can be involved and how it can make you money, I'm really excited to show you about what we not only believe, but in my heart of hearts, I know that this is going to disrupt the whole universe when it comes to rideshare, network marketing, crypto, blockchain. There's a lot of things that we're going to be, disrupting over the next year or two. And change comes from people that take a chance, So I wanted to kind of go through, I'll tell you a little bit about myself real quick. My name is Paul Michael. I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. I was a part of a company when I was in my early 20s that became a $200 million company, not because of me, but because of the gentleman that I had the opportunity to learn from. He started teaching me about taking chances and busting my ass and doing something different than most people out there did. And I did. And for the last 30 years of my life, all I have spent doing is finding problems, coming up with the solutions, and then we usually come up with a big paycheck. And what we have found out when it comes to rideshare is probably one of the biggest problems on earth. Like, if most of us know, 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, no one in their lifetime would have ever thought about picking up their phone, calling a ride. I mean, how many of us, I use this example pretty much every week when I do these presentations, and I say, listen, when we were younger, our parents taught us never to get in the car with a stranger, right? Don't get in car with strangers, you're going to get in trouble. Now what we do is we pick up our phone and we call a stranger to come pick us up and take us from point A to point B, because they've been able to make things safer, because they've been able to use this and track, because they've been able to, just change with the times. And so Uber and Lyft and these companies came along and they made these big changes. And they were great in the beginning. Like, they made it better. The taxi cabs had a stranglehold on the way things went. And so what happened was the companies started going, oh, we can do something different. And so they did. And in the beginning, they paid the drivers well. They took care of people. They tried to make it a lower price. But over time, just what normally happens in any business, when you become a publicly traded company, or you have shareholders, or you have people that you have to answer to when it comes to investors, you have to start changing things. And they have to start changing things at the detriment to someone in the company. And when it comes to rideshare, that's come from some of the companies take care of the customer more. Some of the companies take care of the drivers more, but none of them care about everyone all together and make it a win-win. So my partners and I own a company called Snap Partners, and we started this company to go out and find products and services that our independent reps around the country could go out and represent and make a good residual income from. We all can work. Now, that's what I started looking at. I was in the car with a gentleman named Amari last night, and I started talking to him about our rideshare and our program and how things work. And it was funny because he started giving me all the reasons. And I know he wasn't doing it on purpose to be mean, because I think he's a great guy. And he and I are actually meeting tomorrow morning. He may even be on this call tonight. But we started talking about things. And it was funny because we kept going back in a text message back and forth. And finally, he was like, well, I don't think you should do this because I don't know if it's going to work, or that's going to work, or this going to work. And he said, I said, well, listen, you know what? I'm looking for positive, upbeat, motivated people that can help me build this thing. And if this is something that, is short-circuiting your brain and doesn't work, I understand that. And I would love for you to be a part of it. I think you've got a great personality. I think he's got the look. I think he's got the drive. I think he's got all those things. But a lot of times people hold themselves back because they can't get over certain things. And it's funny because he finally said, well, I'm a strategist and I did this in school, and he's got degrees and all those different things. And I said, well, that's awesome. And I said back in a text, I said, but I'm an entrepreneur and I make shit happen. And I know that may bother some of you if I said the word, but I said, you know what? That's the truth. I find a problem, I find the solution, and then I go out and make it happen. And I can tell you right now, without a shadow of a doubt, the excitement, the energy, the drive, and all the other things that we have going on from people that have looked at what we're doing over the last couple of months is ridiculous. And at the end of the call, I'm going to give you the date that we are going to be opening live in Miami. And we may actually be opening in another couple places at the same time. But very, very quickly, we are going to move fast and break things. And I don't mean break things in a bad way. We're going to go out and break the mold and do things different than anybody's ever seen in this industry. So without I want to run through this as quick as I can tonight. I don't want to take a ton of your time, but I want to explain to you, there's reasons why we got into this industry. I asked myself, what sucks about rideshare? What is it? What is it that people don't like? What are the good things and what are the bad things? The good things are people like to be able to go pick up their phone, call a car. Last night we went to dinner here in Miami. I had the car, I picked the highest level. It was waiting for me downstairs by the time I got out of my hotel room to go to Valentine's dinner. When I was ready for it to go, I picked it up. It's the convenience that people like. But what a lot of times they don't like when it comes to the drivers, I said, listen, with customers, I know what they don't like. They don't like the high prices. They don't like, sometimes they get a horrible driver, somebody that doesn't, care about what they're doing, or somebody that's not very friendly, or their car's not clean. I know all things. But what I really wanted to find out is why people that were drivers, what they hated about it. And here's some of the things I found out. They hate the earnings roller coaster. If you've ever driven, it's hard to figure out what you're going to make on that drive. With ours will be transparent. We will have that stuff out. I know some of you are chomping at the bit to find out exactly what we're going to charge by mileage, and you think you need to know every single thing. I will tell you this right now. What we charge will be cheaper than what someone pays with Uber or Lyft. What we pay our drivers will be more than what you make with Uber and Lyft. And if those aren't two things you can understand, and you have to know the exact detail, maybe this isn't for you, because I'm just letting you know our company is going to grow at a phenomenal rate, but there's going to be issues. There's going to be problems. There's going to be things that come up. And a lot of times as human beings, we're not able to we're not able to deal with change. But I promise you, I've seen it happen before. I've done it myself in many companies. The people that are able to stay through even little problems, which we're not going to have a lot because the road's already been paved. The gentleman that does my software is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. He finds problems and overcomes them before anybody I've ever seen. He's looking 6 months down the road, 2 years down the road. And when I talk about the company that is partnered with us at the end, that has been spent over $500 million on blockchain technology, I mean, I think it's really, really gonna, make a lot of you happy. And I love that somebody put my quotes in the chat already, but my name is spelled Michael, Mikel, but that's okay. I've had it spelled wrong all my life. I told my parents once they pass away, I'm going to spell it the right way, because it does look like it should be spelled a different way. So earnings roller coaster, high commission fees. As a driver, you never know what you're really going to make. They can change the algorithm. They can change the surge. They can get rid of somebody. You can look through these things. I'm not going to go through them all. But I mean, we have people that can get deactivated because someone liked the way you looked at them in a car, or a driver did something they didn't like. Now, I'm not saying there aren't drivers that are out there that are bad, that should be taken care of. But what I am saying is, what happens is we need to make sure that the things are done right. We need to make sure our drivers are rewarded for doing the right thing. And I'll talk about how that works in just a little bit. But these are just some of the things: vehicle wear and tear, regulatory issues, deactivation without a cause, oversaturation of driver, communication challenges. How many of you have ever tried to get in touch with a company through Uber or Lyft or one of these companies, and you can never get in touch with them? You can never get an answer. And if they give you an answer, a lot of times there's no way to rebut that answer. There's no way to put your own evidence and your own things into it. So that's just some of the things we started looking at. I'm just gonna hit play on this just so you can kind of see that our app works. I mean, we're making it better on a daily basis, but we wanted to put together a company that is combining cutting edge blockchain technology with an action-based reward system that can create long-term residual income, which I'll get through in just a minute. We have one focus, and that focus is to bring value to everyone involved with REVO and with Snap Partners. So I'm not going to go through this whole app. It goes through and shows the whole process, but our app works, and it's going to get better every single day. I just talked to the gentleman who we partnered with. I had a meeting with their technology, their legal team, their C-suite team, and we have plans to, on a monthly basis, be putting over $100,000 a month into ongoing research and development and technology and making these apps better. At some point down the road, our goal is to bring in someone to replace me that is in the rideshare space, that has worked with some of these major companies, understands the ups and downs and things that they're going to go through. Right now, I'm not sure that they make it just go. I also understand when we get to a certain point and we want to go global, which we will, we are going to do that within the next 12 to 24 to 48 months are going to be the most exciting, but also the most taxing times on the face of the earth. But I promise you, if some of you put your head down and get after it, you're going to be amazed at where you are in the next 24 to 48 months. Let's go on to the next page here. So we have two different programs to us. Now, when I talk, I know some of you, this is going to not compute with you. Your head's going to explode. Just try to make it as simple as you possibly can and understand there's two aspects to the rideshare program with REVO. And let me tell you what REVO stands for if you're brand new with us. REVO stands for revolution. So the name of the company is called REVO, and it stands for revolution because that's what we're in the process of creating, is a revolution that we give value to our clients, which are our customers, people that take the rides, our drivers, and then we also give value to those people that work in the company. So there are two parts to our program: their driver pay and the referral pay. So the customer each time they do a ride, they're going to pay mileage, which once again, I told you is going to be cheaper than when you use Lyft or Uber. But they're going to pay mileage, and then they're going to pay a referral fee. Now, the customer chooses on the referral fee. And I think once you understand this, it'll excite a lot of you. But the customer is going to choose. They either pay $5 per ride, and the person that's going to choose that is going to usually be the person who usually only uses this 3 or 4 times a month. Now, usually what I've found, there's two types of people. There's people that use rideshare, and they do it all the time. I used Uber 4 times yesterday down here in Miami. Actually, I use Lyft, not Uber. But I'm going to be using Snap over the next few days. But I'm sorry, Snap REVO. Snap is our main parent company. REVO is our rideshare company. Even I have to get our names down right. But so they're going to choose. They're going to pay $5 per ride. If they do more than 6 rides on a monthly basis, they are going to want to get our subscription service of $30 a month. And what that does now is they don't have to pay that $5 every ride. That takes that away, but they will still pay the mileage fee, which, like I said, once again, will be cheaper than what Uber and Lyft charge, and our drivers will make more because our drivers are going to keep everything but $1, and I'll get to that. So 60 cents of every dollar brought in is paid out through the referral program to our partners like you. The driver earnings. Now, like I said, the driver will earn all of the mileage fees except for $1 that goes into the referral program, and I'll explain to you how that works. So drivers keep all but $1. Our promise is to make sure drivers make considerably more than they make now and give them the ability to earn in residual incomes. And it's funny because I have some people go, well, tell me exactly what you're paying per mile. And I'm like, listen, I will tell you all that, but we are crunching millions and millions of bits of data because we've got to make sure that what we charge in Miami is going to be different than what we would charge in Wichita, Kansas. Or I use the example in Wisconsin a lot the other day, and somebody sent in a message, which was pretty exciting. So just understand, we're going to pay out more and we're going to charge our customers less. And I promise you it will work. Referral earnings. You're going to receive residual earnings for every client and driver that you refer to our rideshare program. So just for an example, if someone pays our standard ride, $5 per ride, if you're the one that introduced them to the company, you're going to make 20% of that $1. I'm sorry, 20% of that $5. So you're going to make $1. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but what if you had let's say it took you a year, and after a year you had 200 people that owe on a daily basis. Now, not all of it, say you had 400 people, but it averaged out to where 200 people on a daily basis paid $5 per ride and you made $1. How many of you could use an extra $200 a day over a monthly basis on a 30-day deal? That's $6,000 extra dollars on a monthly basis. Some of you, that would be full-time income. So that's just that. What if you got more? Some of you are going to be able to, I was talking to a gentleman last night who was a driver, and I said, listen, let's say you get people that are in your car, and you as a driver, you can use your QR code, you can have them become a customer, and then what happens is they go back to Chicago, or they go back to Wisconsin, they go back to LA, and once we're live in that city, every single month you get paid off of them because you're the one that brought them into the company the first time. How many of you that are drivers on here tonight wish you were still getting paid every month from somebody that you got in your car that was their first time ever doing a ride with Lyft or Uber? So the $30 monthly pass, you're going to pay 20% of that. So if you had 100 people that were paying $6 a month, same thing with the annual pass. If they pay $250 per year, you're going to make 20% of that, or $50 annual. Now, I'm not going to get into all the numbers, but I'll give you a kind of a theoretical example in just a second. But let's say here, you got $1 per ride. Remember how I told you $1 out of every ride goes into the driver referral program? If you recruit me and I'm a driver, every single time I do a drive for a client, you're going to make 20% of that dollar, you're going to make 20 cents. As a driver, on an average, if a driver does, let's say an average driver does 10 rides a day. If you have 10 rides a day times 20 cents, guess what? 10 rides a day times 20 cents, that's $2. What if you had 200 drivers around the country at some point that you made $2 a day off? I'm sorry, let's say they did 10, you made $2 a day off of those riders times 200. That's $400 times, let's say 30 days. That's $12,000 a month. How many of us realize most drivers, all drivers, if you don't work, you don't get paid? I know they have a referral program when it comes to Uber and Lyft, but guess what their referral program is? And I'm being a little bit over exaggerating, but you have a driver that's a Lyft driver and you bring me in, I've got to do a certain number of rides within a certain number of times, within a certain number of days. And I always make a joke where you got to have it on a Tuesday with it raining, having an umbrella with one shoe on. Like there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. With our company, instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising, which we will be spending money on advertising, but instead of giving all that money to advertisers, why wouldn't we want to give it to the people in the company? Why wouldn't I want to have a driver that goes out and starts building this business for us down in Miami, starts getting a bunch of people started and going, and now that they've got people down in Miami, I should reward them for helping us build this company. I should reward them. So listen, maybe they can take a day off to be with their family. Maybe they can build this up. They got enough drivers and customers and referral partners that they brought into the company that they start making an income every month, whether they're working or not. And so that's kind of how, now listen, like I said, these are only exempt incomes. They're not a guarantee of income. Results are based on production. Now, we do use a network marketing philosophy and style within our company, and there's a reason for it, because it works. I've had people that go, well, I don't know why you're doing the network marketing. And I said, listen, and I've had people tell me that, oh, it always ends badly. And no, it always doesn't. The reason why it usually ends badly is because you've got companies that the owners don't care about people in the field, and the owners care about charging upfront fees where people pay a membership fee to get in, or they try to make somebody buy a bunch of products that they don't need, that are overpriced. With what we're doing with REVO, no one gets paid unless something happens. If somebody does a ride, then we get paid. And now we pay up to 5 levels deep. There's different qualifications it takes to get merit. But even at this level, just with the referral, the affiliate program, somebody could never know about the rest of this. And who cares? They can go out and do very, very well within our company. I'll just give you a theoretical example. Let's say over the next year, how many think it's not out of the realm of possibility for you to find 1,000 people that do rideshare that you could probably talk to? And I'm telling you, as we grow and we get more collateral out there, more videos out there, let's say you had 1,000 clients in a month and you made an extra $1 off of each one of those clients. That's $1,000. If you had 1,000 clients in a month paying the $30 a month to get the Freedom Pass, you'd make 1,000 times 6 is $6,000 a month. 6,000 times 12 is whatever that number is. If you had 3,000 clients in a year, and listen, that may never happen. I'll tell you, most of you, that will never happen for. But 3,000 in a year over making the $50, that's $150,000. If they paid that $250, they saved $110. I mean, come on. But guess what? It's going to happen. Like, I can promise you, some of you are going to get on this call tonight and you're going to come up with a reason why it won't work. Some of you are going to tell me this won't work, that won't work. But I promise you, you're going to be the same people that would have been going, man, I wish I would have invested in Tesla. I wish I would have invested in, Microsoft. But I understand this isn't for everyone. And guess what? We're taking a chance. We're going up against the big boys. But I can promise you this. I am more excited about this than anything I've been excited about. Now, listen, I haven't changed the slide on this. We have a founders program above and beyond everything else. If you go out now, I had it at 30:30. I really need to, somebody needs to make sure I change the slides before we do the next presentation on here. But if you go out before March 11th, now people have already been asking me, can we push it back? No, we're not pushing it back. March 11th will be the cutoff date. But if you're able to go out within the first, by March 11th, 60 days from the time we started this thing, and get, it's 30:30, but what I changed it to is, if you can get a combination of 60 people that sign up either as a driver or a client, doesn't mean they do a ride, doesn't mean they do anything, but you'll be eligible for the next stage of the program. Now, once we open live in your city, you need to have 30 of those people do a ride. It doesn't have to be those exact people, but within your team, once we open your city, if you get 60 people that sign up as a driver or a client within the first 60 days, which will end on March 11th, you will be eligible for our profit sharing pool if you get 30 people that do a ride within the first 60 days of opening, which I promise you that will not be hard. But what we'll do is successful participation in the Founders Program will be eligible to join the profit sharing pool, which will be activated once Snap, I have Snap Rides, but we changed that to REVO, becomes profitable. Projections estimate this to happen within the first 24 months. So this is one of the things I put here kind of at the end. Patience and understanding will be highly rewarded. Now, it's funny because anytime anyone has a question or a comment or something they want to talk about, I get a text message and they're like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what about this? Listen, I promise you, we will get to everything. We are, I mean, my poor staff, when it comes to Evelyn and James and some of the people I deal with on a daily basis, like they get upset with me because I push very, very hard because I want to make sure that we do the right thing by those in the field. So I do have an announcement to make. If you have signed up with Snap and not REVO, if you haven't signed up, if you've signed up with Snap within the last December, January, or February, we're working for an API to put both systems together. But if you have signed up either December, January, or February, you need to sign up, go to the website, revoride.com, sign up under the person who gave you their link. You can use a link or you can use their name. We'll find a way to make sure you get in the right place. But the best thing is, if you signed up either December, January, or February with Snap, go to revoride.com, put in the person's, or get the link from the person who brought. The best thing would be to do is get the link from the person that brought you in. Now, we are working on the APIs to get everything done, but this is where this patience and understanding will be highly rewarded. So you can always send an email into support at revoride.com and they will get that taken for you. Last week, I announced that we would be extending the Founders Program until March 11th because Lisa that works with me actually got an iPhone. So that was just a little joke. Now, real quickly, I want to run through this and kind of move on and end the night as quickly as possible because I don't want to get into this too deeply. But if you haven't been living under a rock, you've probably heard the word blockchain. And if you have been living under a rock, you need to start learning about blockchain because people like Bill Gates say it is the next biggest thing, but they've had to figure out how to do it. How many of us realize when the internet first came out, people were like, oh, that's not going to last. Nobody will ever make money using the internet. It's not going to go anywhere. And now I think there's a few people that would beg to differ with you. Amazon came from the internet. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is one of the wealthiest people in the world. If you look at people like Elon Musk, it came from doing PayPal. So there's a lot of people that when a new technology comes out, says, oh my gosh, like, I don't understand it. It scares me. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I was one of those people. I didn't understand blockchain. I didn't understand crypto. I could barely spell those words, but I saw a lot of people making a lot of money when it came to crypto. But what I did not understand is how was crypto even a viable thing? Because I couldn't take Bitcoin and go down and buy a couch. I never understood behind the scenes why people would put money into Bitcoin, into crypto, until I started seeing what we're going to do. I started realizing that with blockchain, it's decentralized. So the internet was a centralized computing, storage, and connectivity. The blockchain is decentralized computing, storage, and connectivity. So Before, you had places like Amazon and Google, and that's the only place you could get your computing power from. Now with the blockchain, it spreads it out. It decentralizes it, makes it so that the internet and people that own nodes, is what they call them, are verifying transactions and making things a lot better. So blockchain is the technology upon which crypto is built. Adopted faster than any technology in history, it's impacting virtually every industry in the world. Here's one of the things that someone had to say that most of you probably know about. Cryptocurrency bypasses currency controls. Paper money is going away, and crypto is a far better way to transfer values than a piece of paper. That's for sure. Right now, it's in Miami at night. If I wanted to go and transfer $1 million to any one of you on this thing tonight, and I know most of you are going to raise your hand and ask me to do it for you right now, but if I was going to transfer you $1 million, I couldn't do it. I would have to wait for the morning. I'd have to go to the bank. I'd have to get your routing number. I'd have to get your banking information. I'd have to go to my bank. I'd have to talk to them. It would be a whole process. With cryptocurrency, I could go on right now and send Tony money because he and I both own crypto. I could go and send him Ethereum. I could go and send him Bitcoin. And so what we started looking at is that that currency is amazing, but most of it has no real use for it. There's no reason for it. You know, cryptocurrency, here's just some facts. 34 million US adults own cryptocurrency. 420 million globally own cryptocurrency. I'm not the best in math, but I know there's billions and billions of people on the earth that are not using it. Guess what? If there's a market that's open for it, if we find a way to make their utility, we find a way to make something work, we're going to be one of those companies that puts a dent in the universe like I've always wanted to do. Accepted as payment by companies like AMC Theaters, AT&T, Dish Network, Microsoft, Starbucks, Ferrari, Gucci, and more. Value is determined by the coin's supply and demand, which is determined by a coin's utility and a market sentiment and other factors. Now, these are just some of the areas that blockchain has already made a entrance into. And I will just tell you this, with rideshare and transportation, what we're going to do is going to take over. The only way to solve the world's problem is to adopt a new system. These are some of the partner brands. Now, I'll just tell you a little bit about the gentleman who we work with. There's a gentleman that I'm not going to get into his background, but he built a company called Gala Games, and what they were able to do within blockchain, they spent over 500 million developing blockchain technology. They have it down to a science. And we have partnered with that company because they've gone out and they have a couple different brands. Like one of them is Rideshare. We will have our own token. Now, let's just say this for an example. Every time someone does a ride, they're going to pay in US dollars, but they're going to also get paid in rewards as a token of what we're doing. So every time a ride happens, that will trigger a reward system that a ride has. If I'm the driver and I take a ride, I work with this company, I'm going to get award tokens of REV. So we have REVO, which is the name of the company. It's built on the Revolution blockchain, and we will have our own token or coin, which will be called REV. It may either be REV or REVO. We haven't decided on which one yet. But what will happen at that point is all of you that are working in the company, if you refer someone and they take a ride, you'll get tokens. If you're the driver, you'll get tokens. If you're the client, you'll get tokens. And so let's just say this. What will happen is that will start feeding the value of our token. Most of these tokens and most of these cryptocurrencies out there, they have no value behind them. Now, every time an action takes place with US dollars and a drive is made or a drive is taken by a client or whatever, it will push off those tokens. We'll have node owners that they'll get a part of that. We have the other people. But what this also does is it makes it so people want to start purchasing our cryptocurrency, and they have a reason to purchase it, not just to watch it go up. How many of us watched how volatile crypto is when it comes to Bitcoin? It can go sky high and it can drop just as fast because there's really nothing backing it. With what we do is somebody wants to, let's just say this for an example, and this is just an example, please don't hold me to these exact numbers, but let's say somebody takes a ride with Lyft or Uber and it costs $50. But if they use Revo, let's say we give them a discount because they use our system and our rideshare platform. Let's say they pay $45. But then if they use our tokens, let's say we do it for $40. So they went from 50 to 40 just by using our business, our platform. They get a discount for that and for using our tokens. So guess what? The only place they can get those tokens is to purchase them. Now, as a driver, as people in the company, you're going to start accumulating those tokens. At some point, you'll be able to sell those. Now, in the beginning, it'll be 0.0000000 of 1 penny. But I've seen people become multi-millionaires and billionaires when it went up to 80 cents because they own a boatload of those tokens. So this is just one of the programs that they have. They have something called Grow, where you can track what you've, how many of you have ever had somebody or a business say, oh, our steak is the best steak on the earth, or the best hamburger, or the best whatever. Guess what? Now these businesses, they will be able to track the beef from what that animal ate every single day to the day it ended up on your plate. Now somebody can go, we really do have the best beef, and this is a QR code. You can look up everything that happened to it. How many of us would probably like to know more about where our food came from? There's an actual in Puerto Rico where my partner Tony and a lot of people are actually, some people are moving to. There's a little farm that you can go and actually use a Grow token and buy food from that farm. And over time, this is going to get more and more out there. Element, this is just like, how many have ever, seen mining where they just strip mines out and they have kids, little kids out there mining and doing hard labor. This is another thing that we'll be able to show, hey, you know what, if this diamond, nobody wants a blood diamond. Nobody wants anybody having to be killed or something to know where their jewelry came from. We're going to be able to start tracking mines and making sure that everything that they do is above board. So now when you go to buy something, at some point as this gets bigger, you'll be able to go, hey, let me see, are you on this blockchain? I want to make sure that your company's doing things the right way. We have Galvin. We have an app that's already built that tracks and rewards people. There's a coin or a token that whenever you do these things and you follow it, it gamifies your health. Like if you do enough walking for the day, it'll give you tokens. If you do this, it'll give you tokens. So that's just a couple of things. Switch is probably one of the greatest things we're working on right now. It's in beta, it's almost out. But there's a lady named Kathy Roberts. She's the CEO of Switch Reward. She is a pioneer in the consumer credit card industry. She was co-founder and creator of the Discover card. I'm sure most of you have heard a little bit about that. And now she's using the same skills that she did there because of how excited she is about what we're doing. Now, what traditionally happens when you have crypto is you have to have it in one place, then you have to take it out of a custodial wallet, which means someone else owns that wallet. You put money into there, and how many of us have heard people that put their crypto into places and lost it all? With this, what this does is you have something called Switch, where you can have all of your crypto in one place, but it's yours. Nobody else has access to it. But when you want to buy something or you want to move some over, you can do it right from an app. It moves it over to a Switch card, and you're able to use that just like a credit card anywhere you go. So instead of having to take all these different steps and all these different things that hinder you from using your crypto, this is going to make it very simple. How many of you would like to have $1 million in crypto when it comes to the REVO coin and be able to take your card and use it because you've been referring customers and referring drivers and referring and doing the work yourself? So that's just some of the things we're very, very excited about. This is one of my favorite people. Walt Disney says the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And that's one of the things that we have done. We have actually, hold on, I haven't read all your messages in here because I wouldn't get anything else done. But I will tell you this. I know most of you have been. We have uploaded and submitted everything to the Android. They came back and kept, if you know me very well, and if you don't know me very well, you will know that I make fun of Android. So if you have an Android, don't take it personally. I just give those that own Androids a hard time. But it used to be Apple was the hardest one to get things approved when you got an app. But this time it was Android. So what I have said is true. You should all become Apple users. But I'm just kidding. We did upload and submit to Android. So we're hoping within the next 24 to 48 hours, will be able to download the app. But as of right now, you can go to the App Store for Apple and look up REVO Rideshare. There's an app for drivers and there's an app for customers. You can download one or both or whatever you want to do. And you can actually go in there from your back office. You can go into your affiliate portal. You can create a QR code that has everything for it. But one of the things that I always have been excited about is the way to something Walt Disney said over and over and over. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. I appreciate every one of you that are on here tonight. I know that it's sometimes taxing when you're waiting for something to get started. But what I do want to tell you is that our start date, we had a meeting today. We're going to start doing advertising. We're going to start doing work. We may have another area or two that opens on the same date. I may announce next week. But March 1st is our official opening day here in Miami. So we're going to be doing advertising. If you want to start getting customers in this area, I'll get you the zip codes over the next 24 hours to kind of let you know where we're going to concentrate everything. But we're going to start in Miami. We've got cities all over the country right now that are excited about getting open with us. And then we're going to be going global. We'll go into Puerto Rico. We'll go into all the cities around the country, because once this is rolling, we can scale this very, very quickly. I have been on conference calls and talking to people nonstop on making sure that the blockchain is almost to where it needs to be to launch that along with everything else we're doing. So I appreciate you taking your time tonight. I hope we did a little bit of explaining things, but we're really, really excited about opening here in Miami. That's why I'm down here. That's why I'm spending a lot of time here. And we will be opening in your city soon. So please start bringing as many people as you possibly can into the business. Keep the excitement going. I am also going to be planning on doing a live training here in Florida in probably between March 15th and April 15th, somewhere in there. We haven't got an exact date. So I appreciate you jumping on. If you got questions, you're more than welcome to send them into support@revoride.com. Sorry, I'm doing this in a hall in a conference center tonight, but I wanted to make sure I jumped on and did as much as I can to make sure that we get the information out to you. So I appreciate you guys so much. We'll get this video out for you. If you have questions, please once again send them to support@revoride.com, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.